Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 1:30. Iran-US hold pivotal talks in Oman as confrontation looms. Tehran wants negotiations to focus on the nuclear issues. And Prime Minister Modi interacts with students in 9th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha, asks teachers to remain sensitive to learning speed of every student. In Pakistan, a suicide bombing at a mosque in capital Islamabad killed at least 30 and wounded more than 130 on Friday. Police said the explosion occurred after Friday prayers when mosques around the country are packed with worshippers. Medics and bystanders helped unload victims with blood-soaked clothes from the back of ambulances and vehicles. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the blast, saying those behind it would be found and brought to justice. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the attack, which comes as Pakistan's security forces battle intensifying insurgencies in both the southern and northern provinces of the country that border Afghanistan. Moving on, Iran and the United States started high-stakes negotiations via Omani mediation on Friday to try to overcome sharp differences over Tehran's nuclear program. An Iranian official told a news agency that the talks had not officially started, although Iran's demands had been conveyed to the US via Oman. The official said indirect negotiations possibly would begin after a meeting between the top US negotiator and Oman's foreign minister. Previous Iran-US talks have adopted a shuttle diplomacy approach. Iran has said it wants Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff to discuss only the nuclear issue in capital Muscat. US President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who helped mediate in Gaza ceasefire talks, is also due to take part in the discussions. Meanwhile, ahead of the talks, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that Iran is ready to defend itself against excessive demands or adventurism by the United States. During a meeting with Foreign Minister of Oman in Muscat on Friday, Araghchi said that his country will take the approach of using diplomacy to secure Iran's national interest. Araghchi further added that Iran maintains full readiness to defend the country's sovereignty and national security against any excessive demands or adventurism by the United States. Responding on the talks, Kremlin has said that it hopes that negotiations between Iran and the United States would yield results and lead to a de-escalation and urge all sides to show restraint in the meantime. The United States on Friday called for a new arms control agreement after a New START nuclear treaty expired on Thursday. The U.S. Under Secretary of State for Arms Control said that extending the treaty would not benefit the U.S. or the world as it was flawed and did not include China.
The President's been pretty clear that he wants a better agreement. As we all know, New START expired yesterday. The President clarified again last night that he wants a new treaty. And look, in a nutshell, New START was flawed. It didn't cover theater-range nuclear weapons, and it didn't include China.
On Thursday, U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected the offer from his Russian counterpart to voluntarily extend the caps on strategic nuclear weapons deployments after the treaty expired. Meanwhile, Russian Ambassador Gennady Gatilov said on Friday that other nuclear-armed states such as Paris and Britain should be included in any new nuclear talks with the United States after Washington called for three-way negotiations with Moscow and Beijing. A United Nations committee has approved exemptions from wide-reaching sanctions against North Korea to allow fresh humanitarian aid to reach the country amid a push by Seoul and Washington to engage Pyongyang. According to a diplomatic source, the members of the UN Security Council Sanctions Committee on North Korea unanimously agreed on Thursday to exempt sanctions on 17 humanitarian projects for North Korea. The projects, all of which are undertaken by international bodies like UNICEF and non-government organizations based in South Korea, the United States and other countries, had been pending since the first half of 2025. The UN Security Council adopted Resolution 1718 in 2006 following North Korea's sixth nuclear test in violation of earlier sanctions, banning the transfer of arms, fuel and other items that had been included in the aid packages. North Korea has labelled UN and other international sanctions against it as signs of hostility orchestrated by the United States that infringed on its sovereign right to develop nuclear arms and ballistic missiles. The United Nations on Thursday condemned a terrorist attack in Nigeria's Kwara state that killed at least 170 people and called for those responsible to be brought to justice. UN spokesperson Stephen Dujarric said Secretary General Antonio Guterres offered condolences and called for those responsible to be brought to justice.
Secretary General strongly condemns the terrorist attack of February 3rd in Kwara State in Nigeria, which reportedly killed over 100 people. The Secretary General conveys his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims and to the people and government of Nigeria, and he of course wishes a speedy recovery to all those injured.
And during a press interaction in New Delhi on Friday, Iran's ambassador to India, Mohammad Fathali, confirmed the talks between Iranian and US officials are currently underway in Muscat, signaling cautious optimism about the ongoing diplomatic efforts. Turning to regional connectivity, Ambassador Fathali emphasized the strategic importance of the Chabahar port and highlighting India's role.
We are on the negotiation now, and we started the second round of the negotiation, as I heard from the relevant institutions of our foreign minister. And we are on the negotiation, and we waiting for the result. According to your second question about the port of Chabahar, you know that the port of Chabahar is a vital and can play a good role for the accessing to Afghanistan and Central Asia. And we have a good relation with some countries, particularly India, and believe that we should boost or expand our relation in these issues.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Ajay Shankar met a delegation of Sri Lanka's Janatha Vimukthi Perumana party led by its General Secretary Tilvin Silva. External Affairs Minister reaffirmed India's commitment to remain a true and trusted partner to Colombo. The discussions focused on strengthening bilateral ties, including growth opportunities and social welfare initiatives. It also highlighted India's support to Sri Lanka during its economic crisis and in the aftermath of Cyclone Ditwa under New Delhi's Neighbourhood First policy. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. We bring you an exclusive conversation with Indian High Commissioner to Malaysia on PM Modi's upcoming visit to the Southeast Asian nation.
Food systems contribute to a third of global planet warming emission. In today's episode, let's take a look at what happens when food systems stop working for everyone.
After Hatibondo arrived, we discussed as a village the challenge that we were facing. And we came to the conclusion that we should sow some crops, especially for the elephants.
The Meramo Cafe is basically promoting the circular economy. So there's not much transportation involved in that process. So this is one way that we are reducing the carbon emission from that point of view.
Is probably laughing because despite the fact that they're cleaning up other people's problems for free, it seems like nobody here actually wants them to be doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. As exam season draws closer, the country's most awaited student-centered dialogue is back to ensure students give exams with confidence and positivity. Prime Minister Modi's unique interactive program with students, Pariksha Pe Charcha 2026, now in its 9th edition. During the interaction, PM Modi advised students to trust their own unique learning patterns, emphasizing that no two individuals think or grow in the same way. PM Modi stressed that education should not feel like a burden and it needs our total involvement. He added that education in bits and pieces does not ensure success. Instead of focusing on marks, everyone should focus on where they have made it in life. The Prime Minister stressed that education is just a medium of our development and exams should never be the ultimate goal. Rather, the ultimate goal is all-round development. And during an interaction with students, Prime Minister Modi shared how teachers should first cultivate students' minds and curiosity before introducing the subjects they want to teach.
सर मेरा नाम आयुष तिवारी है। सर तो मेरा प्रश्न यह है कि अक्सर कई बार हम स्कूल या टीचर की स्पीड से मैच नहीं कर पाते और जो छूट जाता है हम उसे कवर करने के चक्कर में आगे के चैप्टर्स भी मिस करते जाते हैं और हम पीछे रह जाते हैं। तो इस सिचुएशन में हम कैसे अपने उसको मैनेज
आपकी टीचर के खिलाफ शिकायत है?
नो सर।
लेकिन आपने बड़ी चतुराई से टीचर के खिलाफ अपनी कंप्लेंट बता ली। तो मैं जवाब टीचर के लिए देता हूँ।
यस सर।
टीचर का प्रयास रहना चाहिए कि स्टूडेंट की ये स्पीड है, एक कदम ज्यादा स्पीड मेरी रहेगी, ज्यादा नहीं। हमारा लक्ष्य ऐसा होना चाहिए जो पहुंच में हो लेकिन पकड़ में ना हो।
यस सर।
सर एग्जाम वॉरियर में भी लिखा है मंत्र 26, गोल शुड बी विद इन रीच बट नॉट इजीली अचीवेबल।
वाह, सब याद रखते हैं आप लोग। लेकिन 50 कदम आगे चला जाएगा तो स्टूडेंट कहेगा भाई ये तो चला गया, मेरा काम नहीं है। जैसे किसान खेत को जोतता है ना, स्टूडेंट के मन को जोतना चाहिए। इसका तरीका क्या है? मान लीजिए जनवरी के तीसरे सप्ताह में वो हिस्ट्री का ये पार्ट पढ़ाने वाले हैं, तो जनवरी 1 तारीख को बता दें कि भाई पहले वीक में हिस्ट्री का ये पार्ट पढ़ाऊंगा, दूसरे वीक में हिस्ट्री का ये पार्ट पढ़ाऊंगा, तीसरे वीक में हिस्ट्री का ये पार्ट पढ़ाऊंगा। तो आपको पता है कि आने वाले 3 सप्ताह में ये 3 विषय आने वाले हैं। फिर वो कहेगा ऐसा करो, आप मैं पढ़ाऊं उसके पहले पढ़ना शुरू कर दो, पढ़ करके आओ, किसको पूछ के आओ। हाँ, गूगल पे जाके कुछ करना है तो वहाँ करके आ जाओ।
यस सर।
और उसके बाद एक्चुअली जब पार्ट पढ़ाएंगे तो क्या होगा?
सर हमें क्यूरियोसिटी होगी, हमें ज्यादा समझ आएगा क्योंकि हमने पहले से पढ़ा होगा,
फोकस भी और अच्छा रहेगा।
मानसी
सर अगर कोई चैप्टर हमें बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है तो हमें उसको और समझने की और जानने की इच्छा होगी, जिससे हमें और अच्छे से रिवाइज हो जाएगा वो चैप्टर।
बताइए, सिंपल सा काम है ना?
यस सर।
फिर आपको टीचर की स्पीड का प्रॉब्लम आएगा? नहीं आएगा। आप पीछे रह गए ऐसा भाव आएगा? क्यों? क्योंकि आप टीचर से एक कदम आगे चले गए। मन को जोतो, फिर मन को जोड़ो और फिर आपको पढ़ाई के जो विषय रखने हैं रखो, तो आप स्टूडेंट को हमेशा सफल पाओगे।
And Prime Minister Modi will embark on a 2-day official visit to Malaysia on Saturday. During the visit, the Prime Ministers of India and Malaysia will hold bilateral discussions to review progress under the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Lead India spoke exclusively to the Indian High Commissioner to Malaysia, B.N. Reddy, and dwelt at length on the significance of PM Modi's upcoming visit to Malaysia and the outcomes expected out of this important visit. Let's take a listen.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will soon be on his visit to Malaysia. This visit comes at a time when India and Malaysia both are getting renewed momentum in terms of strategy as well as economy, from trade to investment to businesses to technology. This visit is going to be extremely important and will be closely watched by governments and businesses in both the countries. And to talk more on this and the visit's key priorities, we are joined in by High Commissioner of India to Malaysia, B.N. Reddy, sir. Thank you so much, High Commissioner, for speaking to us on this broadcast. Sir, very importantly, Prime Minister will be very soon here in Kuala Lumpur. What's in store? What's on the agenda?
Well, I think it is useful to set the context of the visit. Thereby, you can look at the priorities that emerge out of this. As you recall, when Honorable Prime Minister visited Malaysia In 2015, there was a bilateral visit, also with the ASEAN-India summit level meetings. At that time, both India-Malaysia relations have been elevated for the first time to what we call as the enhanced strategic partnership. And subsequently, when the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Prime Minister Anwar went to India, the relationship was further taken to its highest levels, which is called the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership.
Yeah.
Now, what it does, why this is happening, because we recognize, and there is a strong commitment from Indian side, that our relations with Malaysia, we see it as a key partner of India in India's Act East policy. Number two, they're also part of a vision Mahasagar and the larger Indo-Pacific policy of India. Now, if you were to look at all this in context, you would understand also, we can all see that the relationship is multidimensional, and hence the priorities are in diverse sectors. Yeah. Now, in this, the key priorities certainly are going to be in trade and investment to begin with, and also the economic cooperation we are looking at. Then we have the defense, security, semiconductors, digital technologies. Then we have the renewable energy, education, healthcare, and of course the people-to-people exchange. Now here, to put it in a nutshell, on the trade front, we have almost touched the $20 billion trade over the last 2-3 years. Our efforts are going to be on looking at how do we increase this particular trade component. Similarly, we also have to see in the ASEAN-India context, there are also trade deals which are under negotiation. But the main focus will be to move away from traditional import-export of agricultural products into more manufactured products, industrial goods and electrical and electronic products, and also machinery, etc. So this focus will be, this is also a priority that will be discussed in this context. Then we have on the investment front, there are two-way investments are taking place. And here I would touch upon this fact that we have also on parallel India-Malaysia CEO Forum, which is going to hold its 10th meeting in Kuala Lumpur. The two corporate worlds of India and Malaysia would come together and understand and also see how to contemporize the business relationship. They will also feed into the government level deliberations on the policy front. And you can go on to complete your answer by saying that the visit of Honorable Prime Minister of India will serve to further strengthen the overall bilateral relations, and more importantly to prepare a pathway for the future engagements taking off from this newly established, I would say, 1.5-year-old comprehensive strategic partnership.
Very importantly, sir, when we actually see such visits have major outcomes in terms of MOUs and agreements, anything in store?
Let me at this stage clarify that the Honorable Prime Minister's engagement with the CEO Forum, India-Malaysia CEO Forum, would be through a presentation of the joint report which the CEOs are going to finalize tomorrow evening, and present it to both the Prime Ministers on 8th, which is February, the Sunday, soon after the conclusion of the bilateral official level talks.
Sir, are India and Malaysia looking at upgrading the SECA for the economic cooperation?
Well, as you know, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement of India and Malaysia, they came into force in 2011. Now it has been, as I can see, close to 14-15 years. There is a joint committee which is looking at various aspects of the implementation of the SECA. A decision was taken last year that we will initiate the discussions on review of the SECA. Let me again, it has four verticals. One is the trade in goods, trade in services, investments and economic cooperation. So I think a decision that the review process, to expedite the review process so that SECA becomes more contemporary and in sync with the new demands of the economy and new priorities that the governments have identified.
Semiconductor is one of the sectors where India and Malaysia are trying to, get in more probably investments and interests from private players.
As you rightly said, semiconductors is one of the priority areas for the two governments. It is here in this context during the visit. Well, it is a little premature for me to say what exactly will be discussed and final outcomes are, because we have to wait for that moment, which is not very far from now. But let me give the larger context of where we are looking at semicon collaboration. We are also, one is at the government to government level to provide a kind of framework for collaboration in the semiconductors. Both governments are discussing on a memorandum of understanding. So there will be some reference to that during this discussion. Second is we are also looking at industry level collaboration to increase. So wherein the Malaysian Semiconductor Association, similarly Indian Semiconductor and Electronics Association, they are already in close touch with them. They are in the process of also identifying what are the areas in which they would like to collaborate. Third is also on the research and what do you call research front. For example, Malaysia's Semicon Research Association and Indian counterparts, they are also in discussion on taking the leap into the R&D dimension. And last but not the least, the most important I would call it, is the talent. It is here where I think both governments, both industry also recognizes the importance of the what do we call the talent that need to be. Here I want to just mention IIT Madras Global. They have recently signed an MOU with the state of Selangor. Just to put in perspective, state of Selangor is which produces close to 25% of the GDP of Malaysia. And here I think they're going to start, based on this year, training of a large number of Malaysian in the design of the chips. So IIT faculty will be involved in this, but it is IIT Madras Global. These are some of the examples of where things have already happened. And this will, one last point I want to mention, that Malaysia has a record of having almost close to 4 decades of development of semiconductors. And here there is a lot of potential for what they call is advanced technology enterprises, which are essentially called them ancillary units, which are supporting the global what do you call semicon majors in Malaysia for over 4 decades. That particular segment, which is very much needed for our semicon growth to happen in a sense of the, let me use the word slightly, leapfrog. And the role of the Malaysian what you call ATs, these enterprises will be very crucial, and they are already started having partnerships in India. And in fact, last year there was a trade mission by Malaysian Minister of State on for what do you call trade, investment and industry. In that visit also he sort of expressed very clearly that Malaysia would like to be part of India's semicon growth story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, High Commissioner, for speaking to us. Definitely a visit that will pave a roadmap for future engagements that India will have with Malaysia, as well as definitely a very huge and vibrant Indian diaspora that awaits Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival. This is Meghna Dev for DD India from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And in sports, Indian wrestlers continued their medal run at the Zagreb Open ranking series, winning 4 medals on day 2 of freestyle wrestling in Croatia. In the women's 50kg category, India claimed a double podium, with Neelam Sirohi winning a silver medal and Muskan clinching a bronze. Meanwhile, Vicky Huda and Dinesh Dhankar also bagged the bronze medals, securing a top 3 finish for the Indian men's freestyle team. India now has 7 medals from the competition, with 1 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze medals. Cricket now. Batting prodigy Vaibhav Sooryavanshi slammed an astonishing 100 to propel India to a record 411 runs for the loss of 9 wickets against England in the Under-19 World Cup final in Harare. The 14-year-old, who made 175 runs of 80 balls, raced to the 3-figure mark in mere 55 balls to become the second fastest centurion in the tournament. He now holds the record for most sixes in a youth ODI innings, surpassing his own 14 maximums against UAE in December. Sooryavanshi has also become the youngest centurion in the history of the tournament. In reply, England are now 85 for 1 after 11.4 overs. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.